Hello students, how are you all doing? Hope all of you are good, healthy and taking care of yourself. Also you are studying at home. This is what my expectations. Hope you are studying also, right? Well, so we have already started with the software testing. We have seen some of the basics of software testing in earlier lectures. We started, this is a recapitulation of our earlier sessions. So we started our discussion with the case studies. We have seen how the software failure caused humongous cost to the companies. Then we have seen different terminologies associated with the software testing. Afterwards, we have seen the specifications and major source of the errors in the software. In last lecture, we have seen some of the qualities which software engineer should possess or software tester should possess. So, in order to become a successful software tester, you should master these qualities. We have seen those qualities in the last lecture. In today's lecture, we are going to see different causes because of which software errors are introduced. So, I have enlisted 9 causes because of which errors are introduced in the software, but they are not only limited to these 9 causes, there are many others also. So, we will go one by one. One of the first and a major reason because of which errors occurred in the software is the faulty requirements, or the definition which is written in the requirement is wrong. So, this is like a communication. You know the requirement gathering phase of software development lifecycle in which we gather the requirements. So here, if there is any misunderstanding or miscommunication between the developer and the software customer, then there might be chances that requirements are not understood properly and errors will be introduced in the requirement phase itself. Let's say suppose we are working on the student database. Okay, what we wanted to do, we wanted to store the record of a students. And here suppose the requirements are not gathered properly. So ideally what we need a record of 900 students, and these 900 students will be divided into years, first year, second year and third year. Suppose while in the communication, the person like a college who is a customer of that software has specified that we wanted to divide 900 students into 3 years, and every year will be divided into further 4 streams like computer, civil, electrical and mechanical. If these requirements are not understood properly, and if the developer has prepared a software whereas on the flat basis 900 students data will be stored, then obviously that is misunderstood and unmanageable, because 900 students to manage is really very big task. But when we divide that 900 students into years and year will be divided into the streams, then that becomes a manageable task. So basically over here the requirements should be gathered properly, and if they are not understood properly, then it's a role of a software developer or a software team manager to understand these requirements till it's get cleared, and then only proceed for the further task. Okay, so that is a major source of the problem. The second is client and developer communication failures. So if client and developer are not on the same side, okay, or they are not agreed upon to the particular point, and if that communication has failed, then obviously the errors can be introduced in the software system. Then there are many times chances that deliberate software requirements are deviated. Okay, so software requirements are understood properly, but just because the team hasn't worked properly or there is no communication properly within the team, or team manager is thinking differently and the person like a system architect and designers are working differently and there is no agreed upon communication, then deviation happens in the requirements. So that is another cause of the problem. Then there are logical design errors, then coding errors, then non-compliance with the documentation and coding instructions. This is one of the major cause of the problem. Now, while we are doing the coding, there are many a times we have to follow the indentation. there are certain rules and guidelines which we should follow. At the same time, documentation should be also maintained. I think you should know that why the documentation is important. The documentation's role is really very important when you have multiple people working on the same project, because everyone should know what other person is doing. They should be clear cut about their own roles, and they should be knowing that where they are heading to. So if proper documentation is not there, if proper standards of the documentation is not followed, or proper coding instructions are not followed, then obviously the errors can be introduced in the software system. Then there are other reasons like shortcomings of the testing process. I told you many times this is like a confusion within the software development and the software testing team, that when the testing should be started. Sometimes testing team is not ready to test the software, so they don't know which things they should deploy for the testing. They don't know which are the tools which are required for the testing. They don't have proper test plan. They don't have proper test cases. So if these things are there, then we can blame on the testing team also for the errors. So that is, if the testing process itself is faulty, then obviously that can put the pressure, that can introduce the errors in the software. Then there are other problems like a user interface and procedure errors. If user interface is not designed properly, then errors can be introduced. And again, the documentation errors, which we have already discussed. So these are some of the causes because of which errors are introduced in the software system. Now let's move ahead. Now the next topic that we wanted to discuss is the software quality. So what is the software quality? Before we will move into the software quality, let's try to understand what quality exactly means. What generally comes into your mind when you think about the quality? Something which is superior, something which is easy to use, something which satisfies you, isn't it? Let's consider I bought a pen from the shop. How you will determine its quality, whether the pen is of a good quality or not? Certainly what you will do, you will use the pen. The very first thing that pen should do is to, whatever you are writing down, it should facilitate in the easy writing. You should be able to write, you should be able to hold it properly and then write through it properly, isn't it? So that is the very first thing, because you bought the pen in order to write, isn't it? So if that is the main thing which it should do, if it is not going to do, or you are not able to hold it properly, if the grip is not proper, or you are not able to write it properly, if ink flow is not correct, then ultimately you will say the pen is of bad quality, isn't it? So the very first thing when we think about the quality is that whatever the expectations are there from that particular thing, it should clear, it should satisfy those requirements, isn't it? So the expectations and requirements should be satisfied first, and that's where the quality comes into picture. Now I got two pens, okay, one pen and another pen I got from someone else. Now you can do the comparison, isn't it? Now both pens are able to write, you can hold it properly. Now the next thing that you will compare amongst them is that their durability, isn't it? One pen, if it's more durable, even though you will fall it from the table, it will not destroy, it will not damage. Another pen, if it's nib, even though you will just put it somewhere else, or even though you will drop it down, it will just get damaged. So basically, once you have fulfilled the expectations, then quality becomes very different. Okay, it becomes a relative afterwards, because both pens which you are having as of now, both are able to write. In both cases you can hold them properly, but now as you wanted to compare amongst them, you will start thinking about other things, that is non-functional requirements, whether if you drop the pen, how it will actually damage, whether it will damage at all, or whether it will maintain its shape properly. Then you will see its lifespan, the durability, if the pen's refill is getting finished very soon, then ultimately you will say that the quality of that pen is not good compared to other one. How long it can last, then what is the maintenance cost of that pen, On those parameters, we will start evaluating the pen and pen's quality, isn't it? So that's the quality. Okay, this particular term is very relative. Okay, the thing which is good for me of a good quality, probably that will be a bad one for the other person. So that term is very vague, or sometimes it is very relative. Now what we will try to do, we will try to confine it, we will try to put a structure to this quality definition, and specifically we will see the software quality in this case. So software quality, according to IEEE's definition, is the degree to which a system or a component or a process meets its specified requirements. So what IEEE definition says, that if the particular thing, component, system or process, if it is meeting its specified requirements, then we can call it as a good quality. So if a software system, okay, before whatever the requirements have been specified, if it is fulfilling those requirements, if it is meeting those requirements, then we can call that particular software is of a good quality. But certainly this definition is very relative again, because in that case I have multiple softwares, like you have Microsoft Word, some of you might have used the LibreOffice also, some of you might have used the WPS Office also. So in that particular case, both of all three softwares are actually working to make you facilitate to write your document, isn't it? You are able to write down your documents. You can make your document ready. You can print it. You can prepare the format and all that, isn't it? So all three softwares are actually doing the same thing, but in a different ways. Their GUIs are different. The way you work with them, the interaction with the system is different. So certainly in that case, we can call all three softwares as of a good quality, but certainly that is not the case, isn't it? Sometimes you will make a favor to the Word than the WPS or the LibreOffice, because that is more intuitive for you. You are used to that for software, isn't it? So that's the software quality. Understood? So software quality, what IEEE definition says is this one, but extended to that one, you have to consider other parameters also when you consider the quality, and specifically when you consider the software quality. As you have understood what software quality is, now we will see what is software quality assurance. Now just forget the word about the software as of now, and we will try to understand quality assurance. Out of which we have understood the term quality. Now we will try to understand the term assurance, which is left, which we haven't discussed yet. So now assurance, in the sense, we are trying to assure something. Now if I say I wanted to assure you that you will get a job once you will finish your engineering or diploma. So what is it exactly? Assurance in the sense, I am giving you an assurance, so that confidence is there, so that once you will clear all the exams of diploma, once you will clear all the exams of engineering, then you will be eligible and there are more chances that you will get a job, isn't it? So that is an assurance, isn't it? Assurance in the sense, we are trying to assure something so that something will happen, and when I am trying to assure it, what I have to focus on? I have to focus on the process. Because how can I assure something? If I am saying, suppose the car which is coming through my factory is of a good quality. If I am trying to assure you that the car is of a good quality, certainly I will need to focus upon the process through which the car is getting manufactured, isn't it? So quality assurance is nothing but, here it is the process on which, or based upon which, you are concentrating on the process through which particular product is going through. It is going through those phases, and because these phases are foolproof, you have worked upon those phases. Because of that, you know that whatever software is going through all this process will be of good quality. So that is nothing but a quality assurance. Okay, let's read the software quality assurance definition. So it is a plan and a systematic pattern of all actions necessary to provide adequate confidence that an item or a product conforms to established technical requirements. So we will try to correlate this with our academics so that you will understand this in more clear manner. So how do we assure the quality in teaching? How do we assure the quality in academics? So we have a certain process, isn't it? MSBT has decided the process that every day you should spend these many hours in the lecture room, these many hours should be spent for the practical, then you should finish those many assignments, you should be present 75% physically in the classroom. All these are nothing but the ways or actions through which we have the adequate confidence that if you follow all these processes properly, ultimately whatever will come out, that will be of a better quality. So if you follow all the things which have been prescribed by the MSBT, certainly we know the person will be of a good quality, that particular engineer will be a better one, isn't it? So this is more towards about the process. We are concentrating on the process, that 75% attendance is essential. Why? The reason is because if you are physically attending the lectures and if you are spending more than 75% of the hours in the actual learning, then certainly there are chances that you will grab it more properly. You will understand all this practical knowledge. And once you will grab all this practical knowledge, ultimately what will come out? So that is nothing but of a good quality engineer, isn't it? So it is nothing but a set of activities designed to evaluate the process by which the products are developed or manufactured. So here we are more concentrating on the process. So in the case of software quality assurance, we have a set of standards through which software is going through. And if these set of standards are being followed properly, then we can assure the software that will come out of it will be of a good quality. So we know the standards of the requirement gathering, we know how to finalize design, we know how to perform the coding. There are certain guidelines for every phase, isn't it? It's not randomly we start doing the coding, isn't it? If that is so, then obviously software will be of a bad quality. But if you are going through all these phases and whatever the milestones are set over there, if you are going to touch each and every milestone, then ultimately we can assure the software that will come out of it will be of a good quality. So that is the quality assurance. It is different from the quality control. Quality control is a different thing. Now we will see the difference between the quality assurance and the quality control. We know what is quality assurance. Quality assurance is nothing but the set of process through which we can make a confidence that whatever will come out through that process will be of a good quality. Now what is the quality control? Quality control is nothing but it is designed to evaluate the quality of a set of activities developed or manufactured product. So this is nothing but whatever the end product is there, that we will test, and accordingly we will decide whether that thing is actually good or bad. Now we will continue with the example of our academics. In the academics we have seen quality assurance is nothing but set of rules, set of decisions given by the MSBT in order to assure that whatever you will go through, if you go through all the process properly, you will be a good engineer afterwards. But how do we know whether you are really good engineer or not? So for that we have exams at the end. So in the exams you will be tested. Okay, now in the exam actually the product will be tested, and in the exams if you passed, then we can trust on the quality assurance part. Then what we can say, whatever quality assurance part was done, that is really working. Because of that we got a good quality product at the end, because you cleared the exams with the good marks. But if you failed in the exam, then certainly there will be a question on the quality assurance part. Then there will be a problem, like the set of processes may be faulty, or you might not have followed all these processes properly. So if you have conformed to this all the set of standards which have been set and still you fail in the exam, that means we have to think about the process through which you have gone through. So whether you have spent sufficient time in the practical or not, whether you got the practical knowledge or not, that needs to be questioned if you failed in the exam. So in the quality control, what we do, we actually test the product. And the product is good, if product is qualifying with all the set of things that we have decided, then that's all right. Then we can trust on the quality assurance part. But if product failed, then ultimately there will be a question in the process. So basically quality assurance will ensure the quality, and whereas software quality control will actually check the quality. This is the major difference between the quality assurance and quality control. Hope it is clear. Assurance in the sense, in order to have a good product, in order to have a good output, you are concentrating on the process. Whereas quality control is nothing but you are testing whether a thing is really good or bad. And if it is bad, then you are disqualifying it. You might have seen on most of the electronic products, it is stamped like a QC tested. That is quality control tested. So what exactly that means? That particular product came through certain process, and then there was a quality control team who tested that product. And when it qualified in the testing, then they only put forward for the customer's use. Then they actually launched it, and then they made it available for the customer. So that is nothing but a quality control part. If they would have failed, means if the product wouldn't have stood to their expectations, or if it wasn't working properly, then they would have disqualified it. If they would have disqualified it, they would have put the stamp over there, quality control failed. And if the quality control was failed, then there might have been questions. If suppose out of 100 products, if suppose 2 or 3 products are only quality control failed, then all right. But out of 100 products, if the 70 to 80 products are failed in the quality control, then you have to try to focus on the assurance part. That means there is a faulty process through which the product is being manufactured. So that is the difference between the quality assurance and the quality control. Assurance will try to assure you the good quality, whereas quality control will actually check whether the quality is good or bad. So we will go through the definition once. So quality control is designed to evaluate the quality of set of activities developed or manufactured product. So developed or manufactured product. So you are working on the directly final product over here in the quality control. So you can correlate that with the academics. In the case of quality control, we actually said there is an exam. Okay, so we are actually looking at the developed or manufactured product. So we are actually looking at the student who has gone through that course, and then we are evaluating that particular student. Okay, and we are putting forward some questions, and based upon that we are evaluating that particular students. So whether the student qualifies it or not, that we are looking for. So that is a quality control. Okay, so if you failed in the exam, we will not let you go. We will not give you the certificate of your diploma or engineering because you failed in the quality control, isn't it? So that is nothing but a quality control, means we are actually evaluating the final product. Whereas in the case of quality assurance, here is the objective to minimize the cost of guaranteeing quality by a variety of activities performed throughout the development or manufacturing processes. So here we are trying to assure that outcome will be of a good quality. Okay, so here our objective is that maximum students should be clearing the exam. Most of the students should be get placed. So that is nothing but what our objective. And in order to work towards that objective, we have to work on the process. So we worked upon the process so that most of the students are actually qualifying in the exam, they are clearing the exam, and because of that they are getting placed. So this is nothing but a quality assurance. So here we are actually trying to prevent the causes of errors or detect and correct them early in the development process. So if we understand that if most of the students are failing or most of the students are remaining jobless, then ultimately we have to work on the process part. So that comes under the quality assurance part. So quality assurance has to work upon the process because the outcome is not good or most of the outcome is bad. Hope this concept is now clear to each one of you. With that, we'll conclude today's session. We'll meet you again in another session. Till then, keep studying. Thank you.